getting the results that I desire at this time. And they shake me up and they give me encouragement. And they also embrace me, but they have a special gift or knack for shaking me up, bringing me back to reality, reminding me of other experiences that I've had that are similar to the experience that I'm going through now, and reminding me that I was able to grow through those past experiences. So if I've had a track record of overcoming some obstacles that are being much greater than the one that appears to me, because oftentimes I make things much bigger than they are. I turn a mountain into a molehill. Man, so it's great to have these type of people around me to encourage me and to help me. You can't do it by yourself. Again, the question of the day is, why are you trying to play the success game without a coach? It's impossible to play any game without having some type of coach, and they also have a coaching staff. So you can kind of see, as I mentioned, the hugger, which is a person that embraces you and encourages you. And then I'm talking about the shaker that kind of shakes you up and brings you back to reality. This is like the coaching staff. And everybody needs to surround them with a team of people. No man is an island. And oftentimes people, and here again, I can talk about myself, that oftentimes I spend too much time trying to do things alone, not picking up the phone, calling people, and bouncing ideas off of them. And one thing that I would say is that be very, very careful about bouncing ideas off of people that don't have prior knowledge in the industry or the endeavor or the business or the whatever it may be. You may want to be a better homemaker. You may have a hobby. You may have an interest in something. You wouldn't call someone that is working a 9-to-5 job and tell them, well, I'm thinking about going into business. I'm not too sure if you would get a lot of encouragement from them, because they've been working for 40 years, 40 hours a week for 40 years, and they know very little about entrepreneurship or infopreneurship and what it takes to develop the wherewithal and the knowledge and to stick-to-itiveness, as we mention on time to time. They really don't know what's required. Now, but if you wanted to get some suggestions about how to be motivated to get up in the morning and go to your 9-to-5, then that would be a good person to call. So you have to be very careful about calling people that you know for a fact that have very little information about what you're in pursuit of. Now, I always use the analogy that you don't want to talk to someone that would fall into the category of what I call the Dear Abby or the Ad-Landers syndrome, where you're asking people for an opinion, but they don't have any personal experience. See, that's the key thing that you need to focus on. And oftentimes, with some people that you may not be familiar with, somebody that you just met that may be involved in business, and I keep talking about business and industry and the service industry, computers or whatever it may be, you may not be real familiar with. So sometimes when you're looking for advice, and I always say advice is different from an opinion. Opinion is what somebody thinks may be the answer that they're giving you about something. They have no prior knowledge or experience with it. But when you get advice from someone, like a financial advisor is a person that's very astute about financial issues, the financial industry, They know about the market, the stock market, and mutual funds and things like that, and savings and investment. That's an advisor. Uh, when you're in school, they tell you go see your advisor. Your advisor, you tell him what your major is. He knows your background, your transcript. He can look at your grades. He can advise you on making decisions. You may be thinking about switching majors. He may even suggest that you go take some type of an assessment exam to see what you may be best suited for, because you have not been able to ask the questions necessary of yourself to find out what your interest is. Oftentimes, when I'm talking to people, I share with them, they say that I'm not really sure what I want to do. And I always ask them the question, well, if all your financial needs could be met, and you did not have to concern yourself with paying what they call BILLS, I call them financial responsibilities, which is most people's biggest concerns are centered around money. If you didn't have to concern yourself about money, what is it that you think you would really love doing? Because most people put a roadblock in front of themselves by often telling themselves, I would like to do this, but how can I pay my bills? You know, how am I going to survive? How am I going to support my family? Oftentimes, people are catapulted into situations where the corporate carpet, as I would say, is pulled from under them. Sometimes they call it downsizing. I call it dumb sizing, because oftentimes the money they save laying people off is really not sufficient to rectify whatever financial problems that may exist within the corporation. So you have to ask yourself a lot of questions. And anytime I work with people as a coach in the area of personal growth and development, first question I ask people is eliminate the money issue and think about, what is it that you've always wanted to do? You've got a lost dream somewhere. Oftentimes people pursue careers based on how much they're going to get paid, and then they find themselves in the career and they really don't like the work. You know, if you don't like the work, I don't care how much someone pays you. At some point, something's going to happen. Either you're going to fall into that syndrome where you start doing just enough so you don't get fired, and then oftentimes you're teed off because they're paying you just enough so you don't quit, and you have to continue to go to the job because you've got this fixation in your mind that you can't do any better, but you don't know if you can do any better if you won't try anything. And then if you do some investigation and do some research and gain some new knowledge, you may develop a new interest in something and find a way to get involved and make a career change. Things are changing now. They're talking about most people in a lifetime, young people in their 20s now may have 4, 5, 6 different careers in a lifetime. Where was a time our parents would work for 40 years. You know, and I'm sitting here, just what came to mind is that we have to do some investigation. I've said on many occasions, condemnation without investigation is the height of ignorance. How will you know if something will work or won't work unless you make an attempt at it? And sometimes, as I said, sometimes people are forced in situations where they lose their jobs and then they go in pursuit of their career, and they find, man, I wish I would have got fired 10 years ago, because their back is against the wall. Now I want to talk about mentors for about another 5 minutes. I want to hit a couple more things. Mentors. Now, let me be very clear, and I want you to go to the dictionary and check this out. I hear oftentimes people say, oh, so-and-so is my mentor. This person is my mentor. They name these people that they never met. They may have read about it. W. Clement Stone has made his transition. But just think, you do know what I'm not alluding to, but you do know what I'm saying. People name these people and say, that's my mentor. He was my mentor. if you don't have a direct relationship with this person, if you don't have